Hey guys, Paul McLean here. Welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Podcast. Excited that you've joined. In fact, I'm excited that every single week, I know we built kind of this community where you join, you plug in no matter where you're at. Maybe for some of you, you're just getting out of bed. For others that are really hitting the next level, you're already on your way to your first appointment, to the office, to see clients. But I'm excited that each and every week that you've joined. And this week, I'm really excited. I've got live guests in the audience, two absolute just killers in this business. And so I want to welcome Marysa Maggio.
Thank you so much, Paul, for having me here. I truly appreciate it, and it's an honor to be on, so I can't wait for this one.
It's an honor to have you on, and Hall of Fame producer as well, so she's helped well over 400 families on her own personal pen, has also built a very good growing organization and business, and also we've got her sister, Christina Maggio, that's on with us.
Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
And Christina, guys, she's one of the best I've seen when it comes to recruiting, finding good people, and helping them get going. And so we're going to get into both of those concepts, like how to go out and sell at a high clip, 400 plus families, and also how to go out there and find really good people and then help those good people have the best foot forward in getting started to make money in this business, which, by the way, those are the two things that you can do to make money. So I think this is really going to serve you and serve you well. And so what I want to do, though, is kind of get into the fact that you guys are sisters, which I think is really cool. Like in this business, you have the ability to go out there and recruit the people you want to be in business with. Mm-hmm. I remember one person said, man, I can't stand that person. And I'm like, did you know that when you hired him? He's like, yeah, I knew that. And I was like, why'd you hire him? He's like, oh, I didn't think about that. It's like, dude, you have the choice to build a business with people that you want to be in business with, right? And the reality is work life, it's a big part of what we do, mm-hmm. right? And I think more now than ever before, people would rather do something that they're really passionate about than they would necessarily make a ton of money. Now, the beautiful thing in this business, as you guys are fully aware of, right, is that you can go out there and have passion in serving clients, because there's nothing better to do than serve somebody with the most important thing they're ever going to have in place for their family. And then also to give agents a shot, or people like myself that didn't have a shot, that didn't even know about the insurance industry, to really experience how lucrative it is. And so it's a beautiful thing to be able to enjoy it, but also be able to make significant income on what you're doing. But I think that for people watching today, there might be somebody that they know that they've not yet talked to about the business, because they don't know if they'd be interested, or they might think that they wouldn't be interested. For you guys, I'm curious, because the crazy thing is I've worked closely with you guys, and I don't even know the answer. How did the business relationship start with both of you?
Christina, I'll go ahead and let you hit that off.
Well, Marysa initially got licensed right out of college, and she was really successful at the practice company. So I was intrigued by it. I loved the idea of it. I loved the idea of being able to provide for my family, by helping families. So that's initially kind of how I got licensed anyways, was just kind of watching Marysa, and then we ended up at the practice company together. And then we were at another practice company. And to be honest, I was really tainted by both of those practice companies. So I got out of the industry for 2 years.
Did you think that this is just the way the insurance industry is?
Yeah.
You took that past experience and said, well, now because I've experienced it 2 times, you kind of looked at the entire industry or other IMOs and said this is just the way it is, and if it's like this, I don't like it, so I'm not going to keep looking.
Yeah, to be honest, Family First Life just seemed like it was way too good to be true. I was like, there has to be a catch. There's no way this is what, Sean was making it out to be. Because at the time, before Marysa actually started with FFL, me, her, and Sean all sat down together. And I loved Sean. I thought he was amazing, but I was like, there's no way, there has to be, a catch here. So I watched Marysa be successful with FFL for 2+ years, and then COVID hit. Couldn't bartend anymore. So I'm like, what do I do? All right, I've been watching Family First Life. I'm intrigued. I know it's real now. I'm watching all these people that have different backgrounds, do their thing with FFL, building these massive businesses. I'm like, why can't we? That's what we always wanted to do, right? So we kind of put our heads together. We had another conversation with Sean. He totally empowered us like he always does. He's just amazing. And we were like, we can do this. We finally believed, we can do this. We kind of put a plan in place. And then we were working with you. I mean, does it get any better than that? And you just kind of helped and guided us, guided and directed us to where we needed to be and to get where we are today.
So what were you doing before Family First Life, like, or before you even, I know you said you had a couple practice companies. What were you doing like before all that?
I was actually, so I stepped out of the industry after we left our former practice company, the last company we were at, because I was just, honestly, I was really tainted, and that might sound dramatic, but I was so tainted by the industry. I wanted nothing to do with it, and I just started bartending. So I was bartending for a few years, and then when COVID hit, I obviously couldn't bartend anymore. And
so think about this. I had this agent I was talking to yesterday, right? She goes to the church, and she just, through getting to know her, because she started going to the church, she's like, what do you do? Because I asked her what she did. Anyways, make a long story short, she's in class, going through it. I've talked to her about, why don't you reach out to people you know? Because if you look at most of the entire company, a lot of it's warm market, right? Like even most of the organization, like Andrew, I knew Rochelle, I know all these people that are warm market. And sometimes we got away from that because we have such a great thing to offer that it's like, well, all these people have practice companies that maybe are not practice or active companies. We'll make them a practice company because they're going to join us because it's so much better and it's easy to give that high comp and all these different things we have to offer, the systems, training, support. But she said, I talked to this one person and they're like, no way. The insurance industry, life insurance? No. I was like, what did they say? Why? She's like, yeah. She said she started going off about this practice company. Like my friends, I had to put together a list, and they sold all my friends and family. And like once I got started, they had already made all the commission and then I had to go hire somebody. She's like, absolutely not. And I was like, got it. And she's like, I don't understand. Like, why would she not look at it? And I said, it's like people when they go to a church for the first time. And if they go to church for the first time and the pastor's like laundering money and he's like sleeping around with like the worship, team, they're like, no. And then all of a sudden their interpretation of church or God is based off of that, right? And it's like, no, it's not all that, right? It's not the entire industry. It's not, the relationship. It has nothing to do with that. That was just a wrong first look. That was just the wrong setup. That was a setup that wasn't the way it should be set up, where it's going to benefit the agent. And so I kind of told her to have that conversation with her, and now she's coming to the meeting tonight. But you want to just keep having those conversations with people, because for you, Christina, like you had this concrete view of like this industry sucks because of what I've gone through, and it didn't just take one conversation. It took some time to really kind of peel off those layers that you had kind of built up about the way you believed about this insurance industry. And then now all of a sudden it's completely different because you've experienced it, right? Which I think is pretty cool to see how that'll take place, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Marysa, for you, how cool has it been working with your sister?
It's been amazing, and it's just been a blessing. As awful as the pandemic was, I feel like for Christina, it almost like it needed to hurt bad enough for her to leave and for her to believe that she can do this. And I just remember like when she came to me so direct, and she was so like, just like full, like you could just tell. She was speaking right from the heart, like, we can do this, and not anything I never told her, and I was like hearing it come from her to me. It was like, hey, like, I know you held back, and I purposely, by the way, linked my bank account with hers so she could see it. But it still took 2 years, joke, but
I
seriously. And essentially, it's really just been a blessing because I've been able to my sister's been my best friend my whole life, and I've been able to get to know her as a person, but I've also now been able to get to know her in business and as a business partner. And on some days that's a blessing, and on some days, we got to work through that. But either way, it's truly just, it's freeing, and it also holds me accountable. And I love that. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. And I think that's great. So for anybody that's on watching this, I wonder if there's somebody that is in your warm market that you could just have that one conversation, and maybe it doesn't happen right now, but you plant that seed, right? And then you just keep stacking beliefs, like the whole shared bank account. Like every time that came in, she's just like, maybe this isn't what I thought it was, right? And then after a period of time, then all of a sudden she's so convicted, she's like selling you on how you guys are going to do it. And like, I've been telling you that. Right. And she's like, no, but let me tell you, because now I really see it and I believe it, right? And I think that's a big deal. This is what I'm interested in learning is like for each of you, because you guys have been so close. You've been great friends, best friends, and now you're in business. You're business partners, and by the way, I do think that's a different dynamic of relationship, right? Because I've been really good friends, and then you get into business with somebody, and it's like in different waters to navigate, which is fun. It's different. But what's the biggest thing? I want to hear from each one of you, like the biggest thing that you've learned from each other. Like, so the biggest takeaway, whether that's something practical, right, as far as building a business, whether it's mindset stuff, maybe it's character, value stuff, but big takeaway that you've kind of learned from each other being in business together.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, so I was going to say, I'll go ahead and hit it off on that one. So the biggest thing that I've learned from Christina, and throughout the past, I would say, 2 years, is you can't care what other people think. As long as you're being your authentic, true self, stop caring what people think. And I used to be the person, Paul, like I didn't want to post on Instagram, the picture had to be, perfect, the video had to be perfect, or I just didn't feel like posting, right? And I had a wake-up call, and that was really kind of through Christina and being like, why do you care? It was a repetitive message. Why do you care what other people think if you're getting out a positive message? And being able to hold myself to that, and also just being able to hold myself to that, but with accountability, it is a big deal, right? Because, Paul, if Christina's at the office at 7 a.m., I can't be there at 7:30, right? It's like, now we're in business together, that's a problem. She's like, where were you at, So essentially really just not caring what people think, but also that consistency of organization and schedule. Like, you gotta be there when we're supposed to be there, and also like, you gotta not care what people think, because if you do, you're not gonna be your authentic self, and you're not gonna get the proper message out, whether that's in your personal life or in business. And it's really helped me kind of navigate through both of those things. So that's been huge for me, and
I love that.
So thankful for that.
Those are two massive things. That's a big deal as far as building this business, because if you're going to go ahead and have your actions always fall in line with what you think people are going to think about it, then what happens is you start shrinking the God potential that you've got, and you line it up with somebody else's potential that they're holding for you. You let them kind of cap and dictate what you can do, and I think that's a big deal. Also, like the accountability factor. Think about this, like when you're working out, everybody has this great intentions. January 1st, like, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to go to the gym. And then all of a sudden, by the time like February comes, like it's dead empty. Like there's nobody going to the gym. But what is proven is that if you have somebody that can hold you accountable, like if you just pay for a personal trainer, you're so much more likely to go, because you're like that person. And a lot of times it's that positive peer pressure of, I don't want that person to think of me differently than how I think of myself. And I think of myself as somebody that needs to be accountable, that does what I say I'm going to do. And now they're there, and I don't want that person. So sometimes we want to use that, so to speak, in a way where it causes us to take those right steps to grow the business or go in the right direction, right? And that can be at a WorkSpots location. So for anybody watching this, maybe if you plug into WorkSpots office, the goal is to find an accountability person. Like I remember, Andrew and myself, like, right, we need to work out and go to the gym more. But the moment we both decided to go at the same time, both of us started going like 5 times more than we would have gone if it was just ourselves. Because those mornings where I'm like, man, it's 4:30 a.m. I ain't trying to go. And I'm looking like, I ain't having Andrew going, I'm not going. That fool ain't going to think that he's got one on me. And I know he was thinking the same thing when he felt the same way. It's the way it works. It's that good peer pressure, and that's what you guys are talking about. And that's what everybody else can have. When you get to a WorkSpots office, talk to the people there, network with them. Like, hey man, I'm gonna start showing up at 7 a.m. Do you think you can do the same thing? And then grab some of that accountability that brings out the best, that causes you to make the right choice, the next level choice, the uncomfortable choice, so you can grow in that direction. The other thing, when you talk about not just a structure and schedule, but not caring about what people think, a great thing people can say, which helped me, because everybody has some a little bit of that. Sometimes it's significantly more, and it's almost debilitating, where you're like, you're not making these choices because you really care about what somebody thinks. Which, by the way, a lot of times that's ego, and I've seen it myself, where it's like you're caring about somebody, their interpretation or perspective of a person, you, that's yet not even happened, and how they would think about the future you, that's not even took place yet, which is an ego thing, opposed to like, man, if I know I'm called to do this, if I'm going in this direction, then what do they matter? They don't matter. Right. And I remember having that affirmation and making that a part of my morning routine, and it made a difference, because it would remind me early in the morning, and I would kind of hold that throughout the day, that they don't matter. Not like that the people don't matter. No, they matter. I love everybody. They're valuable. But their opinion, what they think and feel about me, does not matter. And that would reinforce the fact that I'm just going to go out there and be authentic. And see, that's such an attractive thing when it comes to selling and into recruiting. And that might be one of the biggest reasons why you're able to go out and hit Hall of Fame, was because you're authentic. Because in an artificial world like we've got nowadays, authenticity shines so much brighter, because now it's like everybody's perfect, family and perfect, pictures on the gram and all that kind of stuff. And it's a bunch of crap. Like, we're all dysfunctional. Just certain people are better at hiding it with better looking masks. But when you're authentic, people love that. They're able to be vulnerable with you. They can connect with you. And now when you're selling, you can lead, guide, and direct, because there's that trust, there's that connection. And with recruiting, it's the same way. They want to know, like, can you really help me? Can I do this? And do you care enough about me to really help me go out there and see success? When you're authentic, people can really say, this person does care. They're not putting on a mask. They're not just saying what I want to hear. They're actually telling me the truth. And they're doing it because they want me to win, because they care about me. I'm a part of something, and I think that's a big, big deal. All right, so Christina, for you, what's a big takeaway that you've gotten from Marysa?
Yeah, I think you both know me personally, so communication was not like my strong suit when I came into working with Family First Life. And whether you're focusing on the growing side, building your business side, or the sales side, like, communication is a big factor in that, right? So I think Marysa's really taught me how to communicate with agents one-on-one, especially agents that aren't necessarily like myself. Not everyone needs to hear the same things or even hear them the same way. And I think Marysa's really helped me hone in on that and be able to communicate with agents properly so I can pass the proper message to them. Because like Marysa said, normally I'm very direct, but that doesn't always work with everyone, right? So you do an amazing job with it too, just like analogies, storytelling, things like that, to get the message across to someone so it makes sense to them. And I think that's been one of the biggest things that I've really learned from Marysa, and even you, Paul, just working so closely with both of you, because it was definitely a struggle for me when I first started, for sure.
How do you know, kind of like, when you're working with an agent, like, this person I could be direct with, and they're gonna take it, and it's gonna be the most effective approach? Because that's what we're looking for when it comes to leading, is not like what feels good to me. It's like what's effective, where they're more likely to go out there and grow and develop and really get the concept that I'm trying to help them with, or become aware of what we're talking about and take action from it. How do you know when it's good to be direct or more indirect, right? And not so direct with them? How do you know which, what are some indications that you're like, okay, this is how I got to approach this?
So I think as you build a relationship with someone, you kind of learn that, like what tweaks them, what works for them and what doesn't.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it's like there's not a one size fits all for that. It's like you got to just kind of feel the agent out. And honestly, I think a lot of it comes back to like where they're at in this business and how emotional they are or aren't with the business. Like if someone's very emotional with the business, you do have to almost be, I don't want to say passive, but like you said, maybe not as direct, painting those pictures, giving those analogies. Whereas if someone isn't necessarily like very emotional with the business, like myself or Marysa, like we can be very direct with each other. Like I can be very direct with you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of like how you know how to talk to an agent, is like how much emotion is linked to this business. Like, are they at that level yet where they can separate the two, or not so much? Does that make sense?
That makes great sense. I think that's perfect. And I think that it takes a level of awareness on your behalf, and the person that's, if you're working with your agents, you have to be aware. You have to be paying attention when you're communicating to see what their responses are, and like you said, the emotion that they have tied to it. Do they have a high self-esteem where you can be direct, or is their self-esteem a little shaky because of things that they've experienced, right? Things that they've gone through, different failures and setbacks that they've had. But when you're aware of it, then you can be as effective as possible. And so I think that's crucial, because I do bet, and I know I've messed this up. It's like I always say, I want to find like my staff that I first hired, and then send them like a stimulus check and just be like, I'm sorry, because like I ruined your life. Like because I didn't know how to lead. I was just trying to figure things out. And the same thing with agents. As I started working with them, I figured that out by delivering it the wrong way and messing it up, and be like, dang, I really screwed that up, because even though it was the truth, it wasn't packaged the way that they needed it to be packaged so they could open it, receive it, and do something with it. And I think that's such a big, big deal. So I love that point. All right, so we're going to do some, in fact, let's do this real quick before we get into rapid fire questions, because I want to kind of get to know you guys, and I know you guys, but then again, these questions might reveal a different level of knowing.
Okay.
But before we do that, I want to see like the biggest takeaway for sell side. Like, what's the biggest tip? So if you're talking to Marysa day one, right, you're going back years ago. And you're like, this is the single biggest thing that I'd tell you when it comes to going out there and serving 400 plus families a year, because it's a big deal, right? That's top, 1% of the insurance industry, if not 1% of 1%. But talk about that. Like, what's the biggest tip?
I think the biggest tip, Paul, is you have to go out. If I could go back to myself, now almost 8 years ago, and just talk to myself, I would say, go out there with confidence, and everything you say it with confidence, because it's going to be received that way. If I go in there and I'm nervous, I got my head down and I'm kind of freaking out, even if I feel like that on the inside, I can't let that be revealed on the outside. And if I do, I have to course correct, right? So body language was a really big thing. So body language and confidence. You got to pick to your client's body language. If your client slouched and has a low tone, you got to kind of slouch and have a low tone too. It's awkward, but it works because it's matching and mirroring, right? So I think confidence is huge, because Paul, if I go into your home and I'm not confident about what I'm trying to show you and your family, how could you be confident about making that, how could you be confident about protecting your family if I wasn't confident about what I was saying? So you don't need to know every product in and out. You need to know whole life and term life, and you have to get in there, let your mentors help you, but go in there with confidence, knowing that you did everything that you could do to prepare yourself, and I think that that's the win, truly.
I love that. And you're right. Like the product stuff, that's one of the biggest, I guess things that you think isn't. It's like, well, once I know more about products, I know this, know that. That's not how you build confidence. You don't borrow or build confidence from that. You borrow confidence from your how much you care about people. Because if I care about you immensely, then I don't have to know everything. I know that in myself, I'm going to find the right solution for you. And a lot of times that's just reaching out to the people you're working with, because they have the experience, and so you can borrow confidence from their experience, because they're going to pick up the phone. They're going to give you the feedback. Like if I'm a brand new heart surgeon, I don't have to have all the experiences. I might not go into that first surgery super confident, but if I go into and I got 3 people that are the best in the world that could say, hey, this is how you no, stop, do this, and I can stop. I'm not sure about that, and I ask them a question, okay, do this. Well, I'm very confident. I don't have to be confident because I'm not by myself. And I don't need to know all that. I need to have somebody that can lead, guide, and direct me as I go through that one experience, because this heart surgery might not be the same as the next one. This might be a different artery that's clogged. Well, this might be a client that's older. This one might be younger. This one might have different. So just go in and borrow confidence in the fact that you really care about the family, and that you've got a bunch of people that care about you that are going to give you the right feedback, because they've gone through that path. They've stepped in those footprints, and they're going to go in and guide you through them. So I think that's such a big deal.
Amen. And like, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And I think I always have to remind myself of that. And that goes for everybody, within this company. So I just wanted to throw that in there, borrow the confidence, borrow the belief, and get out there. I
love it. And then once you have the experience, it'll validate and perpetuate you forward. So, all right, let's do this. So, Christina, same thing, but recruiting part of it. So like, what's the biggest recruiting tip that you would give somebody? That way, it could be how to recruit, things about recruiting. It could be how to get somebody selling quicker, anything related to the hiring, recruiting, getting agents going side of it.
So you kind of touched on this a few minutes ago, but I think it's really important to like internalize that this is your business. Like, just like Marysa said, like, you're in business with Family First Life, but it's ultimately like it's your business. Like, you're not in business by yourself, but it's you're building your own IMO. I love when you say that. Yeah. You're essentially building your own IMO, right? And you need to be wary of like who you're hiring. Like when I first started hiring, I would hire anyone and everyone. And you have to hire like people that you'd actually want to work with. Like if you don't want to have a 5-minute conversation with someone, you shouldn't be hiring that person. Like you want to hire hardworking people that are self-accountable, people that are goal-oriented. Like you want to bring the proper people into your business, and that ultimately is going to allow you to build the proper culture throughout your team that you want to build. So I think, that's honestly, if I can give anyone one tip, just make sure you're hiring people that you actually want to be in business with.
I love that. And I think that, if you recruit hard, right, like you go through the right questions and you try to figure out, is this a person I want to be in business with, then your business becomes easier. You recruit hard, business gets easier. It's like when you're hard on yourself, life becomes easier. Same thing related to your business. Make sure that you're finding those people that you're like, this is a person that's accountable, they're upfront, they're integrous, like I can work with this person, they're action-oriented, they're coachable. And then the other people, like if you're not sure, they start to reveal like, man, I just don't want to work with that person. That's where you use a system. Plug them into promote the calls and stuff like that. And maybe the things that are kind of not being, I guess, the character issues that are causing you not to really work with that person. Maybe the calls and the podcast through repetition will help excavate some of those areas of their character or whatever, or their way to communicate or whatever that might be, where they can now be the person like, man, I used to not be able to stand that person, but I kind of like them now. And I've had that happen before too. Like that person was just like, what are we talking about? Like they don't do anything they say they're going to do. And all of a sudden that it flips the flow. And you just, you don't want to kill them, but plug them in and let them, see if the system can kind of help work that stuff out. And so I love that. All right, quick stuff here. I'm going to go through a couple of these real quick. I'm going to start with you, Marysa. Okay. What's your favorite Netflix series?
Favorite Netflix series? That's hard. Ozark?
Ozark? Okay. Yeah. See, I tried to watch that one, but it was so dark.
It is really dark.
Like, I couldn't stay awake. Like, I was like, is the TV on or is it not on? Because it was like, every scene was like pitch black. It's like, I don't know if my TV was going out or if it was just a dark show. It just seemed like everything was dark on there. But
it is a dark show, but a good one.
I've heard it was good. All right, Christina, what about you? Favorite Netflix?
I was actually going to say Ozark, too. Like,
I can't ask you guys the same question. You guys know each other too much. You guys are like, everything is, you're like twins that are not twins. All right, so what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie? I like Goodfellas a lot, actually.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Let's go. Thug life. I like it. All right. Let's see. Favorite quote. You guys have a favorite quote?
My favorite quote would be hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle.
I like that. That's a good one. Okay. All right. What about
I have it in my car.
I like that quote. All right, last one for you, Christina. What's the most impactful book that you've read?
The Secret by Rhonda Byrne.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
all right, guys.
I love that book.
Well, I love it. Well, thank you guys for hopping on. I hope this served you guys and served you well. Make sure to like, to subscribe, comment below. Like we said, every single week we have 4 winners, $250 in lead credit. And make sure to share this. There's somebody out there that I promise you, if you share this, there'll be something that resonates with them, that they connect with, that allows them to go out there and make this week better than last week. And that's the purpose of this podcast, is to help increase your ability to go out there and see the success that you desire. So guys, go out there, be strong, stay steadfast. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
What's going on, guys? You know what time it is. It is time to give away some leads. We're giving 4 lucky people $250 worth of free leads. If you commented on last week's video, which is playing right over here, you're automatically entered to win. So comment on this video right now so you're entered to win next week. But without further ado, let's see who won this week. Our first winner is Jonathan Reynoso. I look forward to these videos every Monday. Our second winner is Mr. Leahy. I'm definitely going to get go for no. Winner number 3 is Christina Ventura. Paul and Brian, you guys are full of wisdom. Thank you for your sharing and teaching. And our fourth and final winner for this giveaway is not Mr. Leahy again. Victor Garcia. Great video like always. Guys, it's that simple. Those people just left a simple comment to letting us know how this video possibly affected them, and they each won $450 or $250 in leads. So, winners, get in contact with Victoria. Make sure that you use your WorkSpots discount code, your sign up for WorkSpots, and your sign up for the Apple Valley office to get even more leads for that credit of $250. Guys, leave a comment. Make it a great week. We'll see you next Monday. Take care.